It's week 4 on the Appalachian Trail, and we are in the Great Smoky Mountains. The Smokies are one of the first things that people start fear-mongering. They start talking about how tough it is, how cold it can be, and how it's another spot that can break people. But so far, I was absolutely loving the Great Smoky Mountains. And even though I was from North Carolina, this was my first time at Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It's day 20 on the AT, and it started out really nice. We got into Molly's Ridge shelter last night, and it was a really nice shelter. No privy, and there's some people need to learn how to dig cat holes in the Great Smokies. Y'all, dig cat holes and bury your shit. It's disgusting. Don't leave your toilet paper either. Okay, anyways, Molly's shelter was really nice. No privy. We left this morning. And it's actually been a really nice day so far. The climbs haven't been too bad, everything hasn't been too bad. And then of course we got to lunch and it's raining and it's windy and it's cold. But you know, we're still on the trail. And so that means it's a good day. We had this really negative person talking to us and like that we wouldn't make it to the next shelter, but we're still smiles and laughs and trying to stay dry and make it to the next shelter. But so it's a windy, stormy day here in the Smokies on the AT. So I'll take you later. As the weather always is in the mountains, it was wild but also wonderful. It added a little bit of magic to the Smokies. Tis a bit windy out here in the Smokies today and rainy. I think the reason that I had never really been here is because I really wanted to enjoy it for the first time during my through hike of the AT. The views are beautiful, but the wind is brutal. But this is pretty. Since the weather was a little bit brutal, we were trying to keep in high spirits, and at one point, Barbie and I started dancing to Fat Bottom Girls by Queen, just to give ourselves a laugh. And honestly, some days that's the best you can do, is just to do silly things to keep yourself laughing. Because even though it's only day 20, what I've already learned is that being out here is more mental than physical. And in finding that joy, I also found some beautiful trout lilies in bloom. I loved seeing them. I loved hiking down the trail, but I also loved when we got to camp and we all just hung out and fooled around and did silly things like swing on a rope swing. Well, this is the beautiful sunrise at Clingman's Dome this morning. You can see all these beautiful colors, and I can definitely feel my legs and my hands. It's a beautiful day on the AT. We had gotten up hours before the sun to walk towards Clingman's Dome, and unfortunately, we did not get to see the sunrise. This is about all we saw. The mountains were socked in on this lovely morning. A bunch of frigid dumbasses got up at 4 a.m.
So worth the view.
So worth it. And as you can see, we were still cracking jokes because in these kind of moments, you got to do it. And even if we didn't get to celebrate the sunrise, we got to celebrate hitting 200 miles down the trail. I know that we have 2,000 more miles to go, but every 100 miles that we hit out here, every state line, it just seems so monumentous and so awesome that our bodies have carried us this far, and I was going to celebrate every single one. I will say, I was sad that we didn't get to see the sunrise at the top of Clingman's Dome, but walking through the misty, foggy forest that we got to walk through was absolutely enchanting, with the fir trees, the pines, all the moss on the ground. It was like walking through a storybook. I honestly wasn't moving anywhere fast because I kept stopping to take pictures and videos because I never wanted to forget this moment and this time that we were spending wandering through the Smokies. And even though I'm still glad that I waited until I thru hiked the AT to visit this park, I'm somewhat kicking myself that I haven't spent years and years exploring the magic of this absolutely stunning place. Hello. I don't know where I last left off with me talking. I know there's been some videos, but I think it was the rainy, windy day like 2 days ago. The rain and wind was annoying, but it wasn't that bad.
we made the best of it because we actually got some like really pretty views in the Smokies, like some of our favorite that we've seen. But then we got some crappy news that one of our family members was gonna have to fly home because he got an injury. So that really sucked, and that kind of put a damper on the rest of the day. And then everything was wet. Like, it wasn't raining, really. It kind of was, but it was just a wet day. And so we got into camp and I was freezing. Like, I basically made dinner and then got into my quilt. So yeah, but so it was an okay day, and then it wasn't an okay day, but it was more mentally tough than it was physically tough. And then the day after that, we went to Derek's Knob. We had a shorter day because we wanted to do sunrise this morning at Klingman's Dome. So yesterday was really good. It wasn't too bad. My legs were just feeling really tired. They didn't really have a reason to. They were just feeling tired. But yesterday was really nice. We stopped and had lunch at a Siler Bald and had a cute little view. And then we got to camp really early, which was really nice. And we got to see like some fir forest. And that was really, really gorgeous. And we actually ate dinner in one of the little fir forests. But yeah, we got to camp early and that was really nice. And then this morning we woke up like crazy people at 4 a.m. to hike the 3 miles to Klingman's Dome in the Smokies so that we could do sunrise at Klingman's Dome. We woke up, it was really foggy, but we were like, we're still gonna do it, because you never know in the mountains. Sometimes the fog clears. So yeah, I have a separate story about that maybe I'll get to in here in a minute. But yeah, we hiked up to Klingman's and it was super windy and condensation everywhere. My pack is still wet a few hours later. Yeah, we had everything on basically. It wasn't that cold, but just really windy, and we couldn't see anything. But we made it to the 200-mile mark, so that was really cool. And then now we've walked through some of the most beautiful looking fir forest. It's like a little fairy tale out here. So yeah, it has been a long day kind of so far, but it's been overall a good day. Yeah, and then we're gonna try and go into Gatlinburg for some real food and then get back on the trail tomorrow. So we are doing, even though we've had some rough moments, my family keeps me laughing, so that's awesome. So yeah, excited to go into Gatlinburg today and get some real food and resupply.
After mostly being in the woods for 4 weeks, Gatlinburg was overwhelming, but real food, a shower, and a resupply was worth it. This was what my resupplies looked like early on. I was definitely still trying to figure out what worked for me. And even though Gatlinburg felt overwhelming for some thru hikers, we had to go have a treat. And the next morning, we got to go enjoy pancakes that I'd been waiting for years to enjoy again. These Aretha Frankenstein's pancakes are like nothing you've ever had. They're like an inch thick.
I hiked 200 miles for these. Dreaming about them for 5 years.
So while Gatlinburg is a lot, those pancakes are well worth it for a hungry thru hiker. But I was grateful when it was time to head back to trail.
Trail magic is truly magic. This gives me so much faith in humanity. Thank you to all the people that do this. You're the best.
When we first got back to Newfound Gap, I'd been feeling car sick, but there was trail magic, so I got to sit down and not feel nauseous anymore, enjoy some trail magic, and then we were able to get back on trail, head out of the crowds, and enjoy peace and quiet again.
That's 2,000 miles! Let's go!
The weather was absolutely beautiful on this day, and we got to see Charlie's Bunyan in all of its glory. It was one of my favorite views thus far, and it is still one of my favorite views of the entire trail. Since we finally had some nice weather, Barbie, Ozark, and I enjoyed it for a little while as we sat and just took in the absolutely stunning view from Charlie's Bunyan. We had a snack, we laughed, we chatted with some day hikers, and then we finally decided it was time to get up and keep walking. Even though the views were beautiful and it had been a really good day, I was starting to feel a bit under the weather. And for only week 4 on the trail, I was not looking forward to what that feeling meant. Even though my spirits were still high and my family members were making me laugh, I could tell something was off. And by the time we got to camp that evening, I could feel a sinus infection coming on. It was starting to get cold and wet and rainy, and I could feel it in my bones that I was about to be sick on the Appalachian Trail. By the time we got to the shelter that night, I was doing everything I could to make sure that I was going to feel better. I was staying warm and I was hydrating a lot. The shelters in the Smokies can get pretty full, and sometimes you get some noises. On this particular night, there was someone in the shelter snoring so loud that we all couldn't help but laugh about it, because what else can you do? But needless to say, I couldn't sleep very well, and I was starting to Google how I could get some things to help with my sinus infection.
Even on a torrentially rainy day, you can still get beautiful views.
Our last day in the Smokies was really tough for me. I was honestly miserable, but luckily we were able to get to Standing Bear, and I was able to get warm and take a warm shower and have somebody deliver me some vitamin C and a neti pot that I was hoping would make my sinus infection symptoms go away. The neti pot made me feel good enough to keep walking.
Ground control to Major Tom.
I still wasn't feeling perfect, and it wasn't a great way to end week 4, but I was just grateful that I was still feeling good enough to keep walking and hoped that I continue to feel better.